Hey folks, guns, gear, and on-target training out here in Oregon. Many of my clients and students have asked me about what they can do when they are trying to practice and maintain proficiency in spite of ammo shortages and or ammo that's extremely expensive, making it more cost prohibitive to go to the range to do live fire on a regular basis. So most of us know the benefits of dry practice, and dry practice includes first confirming you have a firearm that is completely unloaded, that you have no ammunition anywhere on your body or actually in the same room that you're dry practicing is my preference. If you're doing speed reloads or any kind of weapons manipulations, use dummy rounds and confirm that they're dummy rounds. So that's the first thing that you want to do. Once you've done that, you know that you're in a safe environment and no one is going to get hurt, including yourself, or you're not going to destroy something you don't want to, right? Then you can begin the dry practice drill, and whether it's just working really smooth trigger presses or working through a long double action press while keeping the muzzle without showing any movement, right? Working that. Again, working weapons manipulation drills, stoppages, anything like that is extremely beneficial. And it really doesn't matter what kind of firearm you're using for this. The point is that you're working the fundamentals: grip, stance, trigger management, follow through, reset, all of the things that we need to practice on to stay proficient. And if you want to go the next step, then there are products like this ELMS, which is a small laser tool. It's this big, and it fits inside the barrel of the gun that you're going to use. The EMLS laser system by the ELMS system by G-Sight comes in a number of different calibers, so it doesn't matter which caliber you want to use to practice with, but ultimately it's a very simplistic tool that combines a couple things. One, this laser tool that sits in the chamber, and when it is struck by the firing pin or striker pin, what happens is it will illuminate very briefly. The tool also has an app that goes on your phone, whichever phone you're using, and what it does is it will track those shots and allow you to play back and see where your shots are going. So right now I'm working some double action drills on this Beretta M3. So right now I'm working some double action drills on the Beretta. So I'm just going to drop this laser device in. I'm going to close the action, and when I depress the trigger, you will see very briefly there, I think you can see it. I'm trying to get as close to the camera as I can. There we go. I think you saw it. So what you're seeing there is what's happening as I press out, and I'm trying to get a nice smooth press on the trigger without disrupting the sights. Now, one of the nice things in using it with a double action pistol like the Beretta here is I don't have to cycle the slide every time to reset either the hammer or the striker if it's a striker fired gun. So that's a really good thing, especially for folks who normally will take a double action pistol like this, go to the range and only shoot it in single action. Well, that's okay, but actually I think the great skill that you can use and learn from a double action pistol or revolver is working through that long press, that really long, heavy press, and doing it in such a way that the sights do not move and there's no disruption of the sight picture. Because we know if I am having that smooth trigger press all the way through, I'm going to get consistency in shot placement. But if you want, you can also drop that in something like this, which is the Gen 1 Smith & Wesson 9mm 4¼ inch, old standard of mine, tens of thousands of rounds through this gun. And whatever you're doing, right, if I were shooting, practicing with the ELMS system in this, I'd go out, I'd press my shot, I'd then cycle, and I could stay on the face of the trigger to work just reset and that shortness, or I could let my finger all the way off. I'm going to share with you some pictures, and what you can see here in the pictures is I had a sight set up. What you see here in the pictures is I had a target set up, and using the app on my phone, the phone records what's happening with the shots themselves. So I'm going ahead, I'm working on that target, and I'm working on getting good consistent presses or getting presentations under a timed par timer. For example, if I wanted to work on speed, seeing the front sight, pressing the shot, up, look, press drills, I could do that. And then they're recorded, and then I can go back and take a look at the target. Obviously, when I break the shot, I can see where the hit is, but the real value is going back and saying, okay, am I consistently in a pretty close space every single time? And that's going to give me some idea of my sight control and my trigger control, both of which are critical to being accurate and being quick with your shots. That being said, I'm not saying that I don't also need grip, stance, structure. I don't need all the fundamentals combined with that. But this simple tool, and I don't know what it was, $100 or something like that, is a great way to maintain basic proficiency and work what I call weapons craft, weapons manipulation, without having to go to the range. And this, for me, has been very helpful, and something I recommend to my clients, my students all the time, which is, hey, people say, I just don't have the money. I can't go out and buy a case of 9mm ammo that retails for $500 for 1,000 rounds. So what can I do? And one of the things you can do is a lot of dry practice using a tool like this and using a shot timer to give yourself some sense of how quickly you're getting a clean presentation, and then how well you're working the fundamentals. Presentation, sights, press, reset, all of those, and recovery, driving the sight exactly to where you want it, bringing the sight up to your eyes, all of those critical skills that make us proficient and effective when we're using any kind of firearm. So my recommendation, guys, is first start with dry practicing. Second, start adding some tools and doing some research on ways that you can continue to develop and hone skills without having to do live practice. The last point I'd make is live practice and ongoing training is super important. I recently took a class. It was an intermediate class with a really fine instructor by the name of Stephanie. And she, it was great for me to go to a class as just a student and not be an instructor, not having to be watching everything, and not being responsible for anything but just working fundamentals. And it was a really good experience for me. And before that class, I went out to the range, I think 3 times before that, and probably fired 600 to 800 rounds just over a couple of weeks before the class. And that first day back, I'd been to the range for a month, and I have not shot very much over this last year. And wow, what a perishable skill. I just did not have the same level of trigger control. And yeah, the fundamentals are all the same, the presentation is all the same, but there's something about live fire and managing recoil, however minimal the recoil is, as well as just the responsibility that you have when you're shooting and moving on a range of being safe, both for yourself and for other people. So that class was great. It's well worth it, guys, to invest in things like this, doing lots of other dry practice, and getting regular ongoing practice and training regardless of your level. I've never gone to a class that I haven't learned something. real, what I consider real instructors and really, people who really understand firearms are continuous learners first. They are not arrogant, nor do they think they know anything. So I'm always up for learning something new. In this recent class that I took, an intermediate pistol class, learned a few new things that were very valuable. So bottom line, guys, keep practicing. Don't give up if ammunition is too much. Invest in this, invest in a shot timer, start working the fundamentals, and never stop training. Well, guys, thanks so much. Finally, and as always, stay safe. Hey, folks, if you like our videos or any of the contents that we produce, hey, folks, if you enjoy our videos or our content, folks, if you enjoy our videos or our Instagram pictures or content or whatever, if you like what we're doing, please subscribe, share it with your friends and family, and just, share your thoughts and feedback. I love interacting with our subscribers and people that watch our videos. I think I try to do so in a respectful, mindful manner. I learn a lot from you, our subscribers, from people who are weighing in with different perspectives. And hopefully it's a forum where we're all learning and sharing and developing best practices and techniques that are both safe and could, help us in the event that we were in a situation where we were required to use deadly force. I hope that never happens to you. I hope it never happens to me. But in the event it does, better to be prepared than wish after the fact that you had some training.